Today we give humble thanks for the freedoms we cherish in this country. And I join you in seeking God's grace in all of our lives. I pray that His wisdom will give us the capacity to do right and to seek justice. And defend the oppressed wherever they may dwell. I want to thank all of you for the extraordinary privilege of being here this morning. I want to ask you for your prayers as I continue in this awesome privilege and responsibility as President of the United States. May God bless the United States of America, and God bless all those who seek peace and justice. Thank you very much. Barack Obama. National Prayer Breakfast Address. Delivered February 5, 2015. Thank you very much. Please, please. Thank you. Well. Good morning. Giving all praise and honor to God. It is wonderful to be back with you here. I want to thank our co-chairs, Bob and Roger. These two don't always agree in the Senate, but in coming together and uniting us all in prayer. They embody the spirit of our gathering today. I also want to thank everybody who helped organize this breakfast. It's wonderful to see so many friends and faith leaders and dignitaries. And Michelle and I are truly honored to be joining you here today. I want to offer a special welcome to a good friend, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is a powerful example of what it means to practice compassion. who inspires us to speak up for the freedom and dignity of all human beings. I've been pleased to welcome him to the White House on many occasions. And we're grateful that he's able to join us here today. There aren't that many occasions that bring His Holiness under the same roof as NASCAR. This may be the first. But God works in mysterious ways. And so I want to thank Daryl Waltrip for that wonderful presentation. Daryl Waltrip knows that when you're going 200 miles an hour, a little prayer cannot hurt. I suspect that more than once. Daryl has had the same thought as many of us have in our own lives. Jesus, take the wheel. Although I hope that you kept your hands on the wheel when you were thinking that. He and I obviously share something in having married up. And we are so grateful to Stevie for the incredible work that they've done together to build a ministry. Where the fastest drivers can slow down a little bit, and spend some time in prayer and reflection and thanks. And we certainly want to wish Daryl a happy birthday. Happy birthday. I will note, though, Daryl, when you were reading that list of things folks were saying about you. I was thinking, well, you're a piker. I mean, if you really want a list. Come talk to me. Because that ain't nothing. That's the best they can do in NASCAR? Slowing down and pausing for fellowship and prayer, that's what this breakfast is about. I think it's fair to say Washington moves a lot slower than NASCAR. Certainly my agenda does sometimes. But still. it's easier to get caught up in the rush of our lives. And in the political back and forth that can take over the city. We get sidetracked with distractions, large and small. We can't go 10 minutes without checking our smartphones, and for my staff, that's every 10 seconds. And so for 63 years, this prayer tradition has brought us together. Giving us the opportunity to come together in humility before the Almighty and to be reminded of what it is that we share as children of God. And certainly for me, this is always a chance to reflect on my own faith journey. Many times as president, I've been reminded of a line of prayer that Eleanor Roosevelt was fond of. She said, "Keep us at tasks too hard for us, that we may be driven to thee for strength." Keep us at tasks too hard for us, that we may be driven to thee for strength. I've wondered at times if maybe God was answering that prayer a little too literally. But no matter the challenge, He has been there for all of us. He certainly strengthened me with the power through His Spirit. As I've sought His guidance not just in my own life but in the life of our nation. Now, over the last few months, we've seen a number of challenges, certainly over the last 6 years. But part of what I want to touch on today is the degree to which we've seen professions of faith used both as an instrument of great good, but also twisted and misused in the name of evil. As we speak, around the world, we see faith inspiring people to lift up one another, to feed the hungry and care for the poor. And comfort the afflicted and make peace where there is strife. We heard the good work that sister has done in Philadelphia, and the incredible work that Dr. Kent Brantley and his colleagues have done. We see faith driving us to do right. But we also see faith being twisted and distorted, used as a wedge or, worse, sometimes used as a weapon. From a school in Pakistan to the streets of Paris, we have seen violence and terror perpetrated by those who profess to stand up for faith. Their faith, profess to stand up for Islam, but, in fact, are betraying it. We see ISIL, a brutal, vicious death cult that, in the name of religion, carries out unspeakable acts of barbarism terrorizing religious minorities like the Yazidis. Subjecting women to rape as a weapon of war, and claiming the mantle of religious authority for such actions. We see sectarian war in Syria, the murder of Muslims and Christians in Nigeria. Religious war in the Central African Republic, a rising tide of anti-Semitism and hate crimes in Europe. So often perpetrated in the name of religion. So how do we, as people of faith, reconcile these realities? The profound good. The strength, the tenacity, the compassion, and love that can flow from all of our faiths. Operating alongside those who seek to hijack religious for their own murderous ends. Humanity has been grappling with these questions throughout human history. And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place. Remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, Slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ. Michelle and I returned from India an incredible, beautiful country, full of magnificent diversity, but a place where, in past years, religious faiths of all types have on occasion, been targeted by other peoples of faith, simply due to their heritage and their beliefs, acts of intolerance that would have shocked Gandhiji, the person who helped to liberate that nation. So this is not unique to one group or one religion. There is a tendency in us, a sinful tendency that can pervert and distort our faith. In today's world, when hate groups have their own Twitter accounts and bigotry can fester in hidden places in cyberspace, it can be even harder to counteract such intolerance. But God compels us to try. And in this mission, I believe there are a few principles that can guide us, particularly those of us who profess to believe. And, first, we should start with some basic humility. I believe that the starting point of faith is some doubt, not being so full of yourself and so confident that you are right and that God speaks only to us, and doesn't speak to others. That God only cares about us and doesn't care about others, that somehow we alone are in possession of the truth. Our job is not to ask that God respond to our notion of truth, our job is to be true to Him. His word, and His commandments. And we should assume humbly that we're confused and don't always know what we're doing. And we're staggering and stumbling towards Him, and have some humility in that process. And that means we have to speak up against those who would misuse His name to justify oppression. or violence, or hatred with that fierce certainty. No God condones terror. No grievance. Justifies the taking of innocent lives, or the oppression of those who are weaker or fewer in number. And so, as people of faith, we are summoned to push back against those who try to distort our religion, any religion, for their own nihilistic ends. And here at home and around the world, we will constantly reaffirm that fundamental freedom. Of religion, the right to practice our faith how we choose, to change our faith if we choose. To practice no faith at all if we choose, and to do so free of persecution and fear and discrimination. There's wisdom in our founders' writing in those documents that help found this nation, the notion of freedom of religion. Because they understood the need for humility. They also understood the need to uphold freedom of speech. That there was a connection between freedom of speech and freedom of religion. For to infringe on one right under the pretext of protecting another is a betrayal of both. But part of humility is also recognizing in modern, complicated, diverse societies, the functioning of these rights, the concern for the protection of these. Rights calls for each of us to exercise civility and restraint and judgment. And if, in fact, we defend the legal right of a person to insult another's religion, we're equally obligated to use our free speech to condemn such insults and stand shoulder to shoulder with religious communities. Particularly religious minorities who are the targets of such attacks. Just because you have the right to say something doesn't mean the rest of us shouldn't question those who would insult others in the name of free speech. Because we know that our nations are stronger when people of all faiths feel that they are welcome. That they, too, are full and equal members of our countries.